Funerals were held today for some of the Israeli hostages whose bodies were recovered by Israel Defense Forces. Of the roughly 250 Israelis taken in Hamas's October 7th attack, more than 100 people remain in Gaza. CBC's senior foreign correspondent, Sasha Petrusik, joins us now from Nir Oz kibbutz in southern Israel. Sasha, it's been a very difficult time for this kibbutz in particular, but also a very few difficult days there.
That's absolutely right, Abby. This kibbutz was one of the first that was hit on October 7th. It was attacked. And in the end, between those who were killed, some 46 people, and those who were kidnapped, another 71 people, something like 1 in 4 people who lived on this kibbutz were in some way directly, very seriously affected. I'm standing in front of a house that is owned by Oded Lifshitz, 85 years old. He and his wife were both kidnapped on that day. The armed Hamas militants broke into their safe room, took them away, put them on the back of a bicycle, and took them into Gaza, which is really only about 1.5 kilometers away from here. You can see it over the fence, and you can see Khan Yunis, the lights of Khan Yunis. This place has never been the same since. So many people were affected. This is where the funeral was today, one of them, for another person who was kidnapped. His body was found yesterday in Khan Yunis, under Khan Yunis, along with 5 other hostages who were also killed. And this is the kind of thing that places like this, which people who lived right next to the border with Gaza, this is what they are dealing with now, the emotional impact, but also the fact that many people, many of those hostages are still gone. Oded Lifshitz is still somewhere in Gaza, perhaps dead, perhaps alive. His wife was released a few months ago, but this is the story that happens in every single house. And if you go through this one, it's dark now, but you can see it is a burned out mess, including the piano that he loved to play on. So everything is a memory, and everything is just real pressure on people not to return. Only 5 people have returned to this kibbutz so far. Maybe nobody else will.
Sasha, while some families are dealing with grief, some are dealing with the uncertainty that you talked about, well, we've also seen them take part in demonstrations, trying to put some pressure on their elected officials, on members of the Israeli government, particularly Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, to do more. What's their message been, particularly to the people that you've been speaking with there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a sense of betrayal, there's a sense of anger, there's even fury at the government. First of all, because it took more than a day for the military really to control this kibbutz at the very beginning. They weren't sent in very quickly, but even more so because so many of these people who are still hostages, the people who are here, their families are feeling that the government is ignoring their pleas. They want to see a deal. They want to see a deal with Hamas to release the hostages. And what they're saying is everything else can wait. All those other military issues, they can go back in if they have to pull out. They can keep fighting if that's necessary later on. I mean, obviously, people here have a very specific demand, and what they want is for the government to sign a deal almost at any cost to get their families, to get these hostages back. This is the kind of thing that they're saying. This is another, the son of another hostage from this same kibbutz.
My father was murdered, a bullet to the head, in somewhere around the end of February, okay? My mother was released in 28th of November, about 3 months between. I expect Bibi Netanyahu to do the deal or keep on the deal running until he gets everybody out. By him delaying getting to this point, when we're playing some kind of who says what and games that what does what, help who.
And really, you know, when you listen to that kind of message, you can see how they have been really trying to pressure the government. They feel the government has its own agenda. It doesn't necessarily want to stop fighting. That's what people are saying. And it doesn't have the interests of these hostages at the top of the list. Now, you know, there is an opportunity for some kind of a deal, talks that are supposed to go on this week, Thursday and Friday, in Cairo. Israel has said that it is agreeing to the proposals that are on the table with the mediators, especially the American mediators, but very few of the people who live on these kibbutzes really believe, really trust that the government has their interests and their concerns, their tragedy at heart. Abby?
Thanks for this, Sasha. The CBC's Sasa Petrosic in Near Oz, Israel.